Okay, I am chronicling the day. It is Friday, October 18th, 9:39 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Most days here in town, I'm in town for as long as I'm in town in the first place, and I'm in town as long as I am because Horseshoe Baltimore is a Caesars property. I need some hours here at the end of the year for Diamond. So most days are just going to be like wake up, think about Wawa all day while I'm playing poker in the Horseshoe Baltimore, and that's about it. Today's a little different. Today's the one day I change rooms while I'm in town, so I'm up early, need to go to a bank, might go to Wawa, gonna change rooms. Also, as long as I'm here, because the room I'm in right now is very close to Maryland Live. So there is gonna be possibly no Maryland Live at all in this trip, but because I have 3 hours between rooms and I'm so close to the building right now, thought I would play some late morning, early afternoon poker at Maryland Live, take some pictures. For those of you who have never been there, I'll be in the building, show you some pictures like I was on the road in St. Louis and Columbus, Ohio, like that. And then I'll change rooms, and then I'll be at the Horseshoe Baltimore, and hopefully there won't be tons of people on the smoking terrace, and I could go out there for an update every once in a while, tell you about my session. So that's going to be what's happening today. And first, gotta eat. And I'm sure everyone who watches the channel out of pure rage somehow blacked out 5 seconds ago because they never see this. Gonna eat some oatmeal. Great thing, healthy, inexpensive meal. The bad thing, it's filling. So probably not gonna have the urge to go to Wawa as much as I want to every single day. Yeah, it's actually like a bad thing when I have no reason to. So, gonna eat this, gonna get all my stuff kind of packed up. It's all over the counter over there. And then get out of here. Probably first stop, the bank, then Maryland Live. All right, here I am, Maryland Live. Went to the bank, now I'm at Maryland Live. Very likely to get you guys some pictures. Also, I would love to film walking from the first floor to the second floor. Not a lot of poker rooms have 2 floors. I don't think anything right now would be going on the second floor, which makes it easier, I think, to film without being noticed. Pretty sure later today, there will be so many tables, some of them will have to be going on the second floor. I think it's like 55 tables total, slightly more on the first floor. Don't know the exact numbers, but if I could, I'll show you that walk up the stairs from floor number 1 to floor number 2, and I should play like 2-3 hours, then go to the Airbnb, and then go to the Horseshoe Baltimore and play. All right, I am up here on the second floor. I have a seat downstairs on table 5. Walked up to the second floor hoping nothing was going on up here and I could film up here. There's a tournament going on up here, so it's gonna be tough to film the walk. I have got some pictures for you guys, but I'm here on the smoking patio of the second floor. Nice scenery. Yeah, it's just a no-go on filming the walk from the first floor to the second, but do have some pictures, and gonna keep playing, and then I'll show you the pictures. Maryland Live pictures, let's go. So this is a picture of the board, and I want to point out the stairs, because just outside the poker room, a few steps below the poker room, they have the board, which is great when it's really busy. It wasn't busy this day, but when it's real busy, you want to know where you are on the list, how far down, how many people need to get a seat before you get a seat. You walk into the poker room, there's a lot going on. A lot of employees, a lot of players. It could be like really crowded. It's nice that they have the board just outside the poker room here at the bottom of the stairs. Nice feature. Also, here is the sign, just at the bottom of the stairs, walking from the first floor to the second floor, and you can see 52 tables. So tables 1 through 27 on the first floor, up the stairs on the second floor, tables 28 through 52. I walked up there, I found the last table, proof that they have 52 tables total. I thought it was 55, but it's 52. There you go. And took a picture of the board. I didn't ask all the questions about this high hand thing. It looks like they're giving away $6,000 in total to the 20 highest hands of a very long period, each hand winning some amount between $100 and $500. Don't know when it started, but when I was playing there around like 12:30 in the afternoon, there was still 5.5 hours left in this period. So very long period. They want you there all day long. And pictures of a couple restaurants. So this is the Asian restaurant, and this is the Mexican restaurant. When I played here a lot in 2020, I would play. Then I would use a few comps in each. I would go to the Asian restaurant, get white rice. Then I would come here and get a quesadilla with no cheese in it. So I could just like open up the tortilla and all the chicken would fall out. And that was my way to make a piecemeal chicken and rice. Alright, I played briefly walking around the mall right across the street from Maryland Live. Stopped right here because it smells great with pretzels being made right behind me. Gonna go to Wawa after I do this lap around the mall, then the Airbnb, then play at the Horseshoe, Baltimore. Maryland Live was alright, actually. They're really going overboard with the promos. You saw that promo thing, just like half the day, and they're giving away, I don't remember how much money, to the top 20 hands, like, of the day. It's a lot of games going, but it's like so many people are there just to hit Royals, and they don't need to go that overboard with it. But I want to tell you something about Maryland Live from back in the day when I get to the parking garage, because there's a little music here, worried about copyright things. I feel like I'm bothering everyone who's walking by me, but an interesting story from 2020. So during Corona, they had this rule that made no sense. It was 1 table change per 8-hour session. Never got a straight answer on what the word session meant in there. If you played 2 hours and then left and then came back 2 hours later, are you allowed 0 table changes because you used one in your first 2 hours? What's an 8-hour session? Like, not everyone plays exactly 8-hour sessions. Like, so it wasn't clear what they were talking about with that wording. It also didn't make sense because there was no limit on changing games. They're talking about table changes within the same game. There was no limit on how often you could go to different games. You could play 1-3 no limit, then you could go to 2-5 no limit, then you could go to the stud 8, Omaha 8, down by down, then you could go to limit hold'em, then you could go to an Omaha table. You could do that all day long. There was absolutely no limit on changing games. The purpose of the rule was to limit how often they had to clean the tables, because every time someone got up, they would wipe down the chair and the rail, because it was like the height of Corona. But if you're letting people change games all day long, all they want, every 10 minutes, there's no point to limiting table changing. So it was a rule that didn't make sense. It also, to me, if you can't table change, like, it's not poker. So I had to find a way around this. So it was great when they were so busy, things were happening on both floors, because so many people hated playing on the second floor. They would prefer to play in a terrible game on the first floor rather than the best game of their lives on the second floor. So when you walked in and got a seat, you always started on the second floor because there were so many people up there asking for a transfer to any table downstairs. So your first seat would almost always be upstairs if both floors were going. Okay, so you're upstairs. Upstairs there was usually like a cashier chip runner behind the desk and a floor walking around the tables. So if you didn't like your first table, you would ask the floor, hey, can I move from 37 to 48? And he would usually just look over. Does 48 have a seat? Yeah, go ahead. You didn't use your name. That was important because you could only get away with using your name once. So you would just ask the guy who's walking around the tables and you would get your first table change. If that table weren't good, then you would go to the chip runner cashier behind the desk on the second floor and you would say, can I get a transfer to any table downstairs? That cashier would ask for your name, put you on the list. You would get your seat, they would call your name out, and you would go down. So that's your second change. You can't deal with the same person more than once, and you can't use your name more than once. Then once you were downstairs, if your third table also weren't good, then you would ask another floor who's walking around the tables on the first floor, hey, can I move from 5 to 16? And he would usually just look over, is there a seat over there on 16? Yeah, go ahead. So that's how you would get a look at 4 different tables. I would also usually walk to the smoking terrace and back to like look at I hate people who walk up to a table and then just stare at a hand in action for a while and then leave. Like, I don't know, I feel like it's just like a terrible look. I would just walk to the smoking area, I would walk back, and you would get a glimpse of all the tables going and ask for, you know, from upstairs to downstairs, usually just ask for any table, but within the same floor, ask for the best table I could find. And if that still weren't good, if you checked out those 4 tables, still didn't have a table you liked, just leave, sit in the slot machines for 15 minutes, and then come back, and you're a new player. And they weren't keeping track in the least of like who was leaving and coming back. So you would do that, come back, and you would get a random table, and hopefully it was either not a table you played already, or it was a table you played, but things had changed since the last time you were there. So that was a way, even though you were only allowed 1 change, which is 2 tables, that was a way to get a look at 5 tables in a fairly small amount of time if you were creative and pleasant and looking for the best game in the room.
You're drinking, so you tell me.
And remember, rice is a spoon food.